Many of us grew up watching Digimon or Pokemon. Some of us enjoyed both, but I'm sure you remember on the playground talking about how Wargreymon would beat any Pokemon, or maybe about how Charizard would steal Metal Garurumon's lunch money. Well, in this video, we will be turning that playground argument into an in-depth video analysis. My name is Mustache Panda, and today I will be definitively answering who is stronger overall, Digimon or Pokemon. To do this, I'll be going through each level of Digimon and Pokemon, from Rookie and Basic to Mega and Stage 2 with Mega Evolution included. We'll also go over the God tiers in both verses as well. I will be leaving out baby and in-training Digimon like Koromon, as well as baby Pokemon like Igglybuff for the sake of brevity, as I don't think these tiers will have any effect on the outcome. We will only be using Digimon with tamers and Pokemon with trainers, as in this instance, being with a partner is a buff to the Pokemon or Digimon. This will not apply to the God tiers like Arceus and the Royal Knights, for example. Before we jump into this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm hoping to increase my video output very soon, so if my lack of a catalog puts you off, don't worry, there is more coming. Starting off, we have Rookie Digimon versus Basic Pokemon. Overall, I have to say this is probably the most complicated tier. For Digimon, we have examples like Agumon, who was able to push an amped Kuwagamon back in Adventure Tri, and Saver's Agumon, who has his own burst mode, and was able to stop Yggdrasil with it with the help of Marcus. But on the other hand, we have Ash's Pikachu, who, with the use of a Z move, was able to beat one of the Tapu Guardians alongside Ash's Bulbasaur fighting Regis in Gen 3, for example. This clearly shows that the high tier rookies and basic Digimon are capable of some crazy things, so I think this tier might come down to two things: the consistency of this power level and the top feat from this level of that mon. If we look at the majority of basic Pokemon, fighting trained legends is not consistent at all. Shoot, it's not even consistent with Pikachu. In Gen 3, Pikachu went from taking attacks from Stage 2 Pokemon to losing to a wild Trico, who is hardly wall level. We could say the same thing for Marcus's Agumon, but looking at Tai's Agumon as well as some of the other Digimon partners, we see fighting off champion level Digimon to be somewhat consistent. After their first evolution in Episode 2, they managed to all take out a Kuwagamon altogether. This shows a clear path of development for these partner Digimon and shows their feats to be more consistent at the lower level. If we look at the most consistent feats for Pokemon, we can see that most basic Pokemon are around wall level with multiple AP outliers that make this tier of Mon inconsistent. Whereas rookies seem to be more consistently scaled to small building level via being able to slightly match amped champions, as well as the destruction caused by Agumon that shows in the pilot for Digimon. Keep in mind, this Agumon is not even a partner Digimon, just a strong Agumon. But we also see Digimon like Patamon in Adventure go up against Elecmon, who is another rookie, and is almost pushed Patamon to evolve. And this Elecmon has no real feats past wall level, just like Trico. Based on this information, and the amount of inconsistencies we see in both series, it's safe to say that this tier is a draw. When it comes to Champion versus Stage 1, I think we can pull more consistent feats and lore into the fray. Looking at Champion Digimon, we have some pretty awesome examples. Starting off, we can look at Greymon from the Adventure 2020 reboot. He was able to fight toe-to-toe with Ogremon. Ogremon is implied to have beaten a Skull Greymon to earn his Bone Club. Skull Greymon should be astronomically stronger than the Devimon we see in Adventure, who is able to split apart File Island with his powers. This can be backed up via Metal Greymon, who's frequently compared to Skull Greymon, but with intelligence. Does this mean Ogremon is large island level or higher? No. But it means he, and by proxy Greymon, should be relative to an extent. This makes it safe to assume a low ball of mountain to a high ball of small island depending on the champion you're looking at. Let's take a look at Stage 1 Pokemon. There's a bit less inconsistency. For example, we have Charmeleon, who should be relative to Dragonair, as not only do we see Ash's Charizard fight and beat a Dragonite later on in the series, but their base stat total is extremely close, with Dragonair only coming out ahead by about 15 points. We see in the Adventures manga that Lance's Dragonair was able to decimate a part of a large city. This should apply to most well-trained Stage 1 Pokemon with a similar stat total, such as Ash's Charmeleon as well. This would put a good portion of Stage 1 Pokemon at small city level, excluding your Metapods, Kakunas, Silcoons, which is honestly quite impressive. Keep in mind, this damage was done with a Hyper Beam by Dragonair, widely considered one of the strongest moves at the time of the release of the chapter it happened in. Even with the Pokemon's impressive feats, Digimon scaling to mountain level just gives a slight edge overall. This point goes to Digimon. Ultimate and Stage 2 is where we start to see a bigger gap overall. We can start off with a baseline being the average Charizard. In the Pokedex, it's stated that a Charizard can destroy a mountain. This is backed up by a statement for Wild Tyranitar in the Pokedex as well. It states that Tyranitar is known for dropping mountains while stomping around, similar to how Charizard is able to melt one. This should be consistent for any Pokemon that is Stage 2, or any Pokemon that has a base stat total of around 500 to 600, like Charizard and Dragonite, and is well trained by a decent trainer. Now, some of these Pokemon can scale to certain legends that have threatened islands and continents in the past, so there are a few outliers that sit in this range. For the sake of fairness, I will say a low ball of large mountain and a high ball of large island. While this is a wide range, it is consistent. For Digimon, there is one feat that I want to focus on. In the latter half of Digimon Adventure, we see Izzy and his Digimon Mega Kabuterimon, who is shockingly not a Mega, but rather an Ultimate, was able to do something extremely impressive. In his first appearance as a fresh Ultimate, Mega Kabuterimon, after Izzy was able to activate his crest, was able to completely destroy a pocket dimension that included several celestial bodies and existed outside of the digital world. There are a few ways we can take this feat, and if you have an understanding of the digital world structure and cosmos, you will know what I mean by that, but in this instance, I will be taking this feat at face value. This would put an Ultimate Digimon with a Tamer at a low ball of Large Planetary to a high ball of Dwarf Star. Now, this certainly could be extrapolated to be much further and higher than this, but this is where I will settle for this video. This clearly gives Digimon another point. With Digimon wiping out pocket dimensions and ripping holes through reality, it makes it hard for Pokemon to keep up at that level. We still don't even out at the Mega versus Mega tier. If you haven't yet, please check out my Scaling War Greymon video. When it comes to Digimon, we have some wild feats for Megas, from creating their own mini-verses that are shown to have an uncountable number of celestial bodies, to tearing apart the digital world, which actually houses a multitude of universes while transcending into the real world and breaking reality. The majority of Megas with Tamers are astonishingly powerful. I won't get too in-depth. If you want to learn more, like I said, be sure to check out my War Greymon scaling video. When it comes to Mega level and non-God tier Pokemon, their range can vary. If we look at Mewtwo and Mega Charizard, it would be safe to place them in the large island category, via Mewtwo nuking an island and Mega Charizard being able to keep up and even beat Mewtwo. Whereas we have the Tectonic Trio and Deoxys, for example. Groudon, Kyogre, and Rayquaza should be bare minimum multi-continental via their lore. Rayquaza does go a bit further though. In his base form, he was able to frighten the other two primal forms into backing down. In his Mega form though, we see Rayquaza do some impressive stuff. Rayquaza was able to stop a meteor that very likely would have destroyed the planet and absolutely destroyed Deoxys, who is the one contained within that meteor being propelled by Deoxys' energy. This should put the high non-god tiers like Mega Rayquaza, Eternatus, and Mega Mewtwo around planetary AP ranges. Like I said at the start, we still see a huge imbalance here. At bare minimum, we are seeing low universal feats from most tamerless Megas upwards to low complex multiversal from Digimon, with planetary at best from non-god legend. It's safe to say Digimon gets the point here. And this is where the balance comes back, in the god tiers. We have Arceus, Giratina, and the Time Duo. You can extrapolate other Pokemon to their level, but in this instance we will be focusing on them as they are the most consistent. Palkia and Dialga are shown to be more than capable of resetting space-time. This would likely include 7 of the 8 different realms that are located in the Pokemon world as well. Looking at this as a shared feat, we could put this at near the Multiversal Plus level for both of them. We can back this up by looking at ultra wormholes that connect to other Pokemon universes. If we take this and look at Arceus, the god of the Pokemon world, he created everything, including the realm that he exists in, which transcends the time-space of the Pokemon world, which we have established is an infinite separate space-time. Via transcending the universe in this way, it classifies him for low complex multiversal. But what about the god tiers in Digimon? For this we have to look at Yggdrasil and Omegamon X. Yggdrasil exists in Kernel, which is a realm that transcends the realm of the 4 holy beasts by several layers, several being more than 2, less than 3. Now, I will have a video that goes through the layers of the digital world, but unlike the Pokemon world, there isn't only 8. Essentially, Kernel can be extrapolated to be anywhere from 10th to 12th dimensional, or high complex to hyperversal. There is possible outer versal scaling, but for me, that is all theoretical. How does this apply to any Digimon? There are two specifically that I would like to bring up: Omegamon X and Victory Greymon. Let's start with Victory Greymon. They are an evolution that is specifically born to defeat Yggdrasil. Now, to my knowledge, that has never happened. Omegamon X has been able to. Not only that, using All Delete, they were able to reset Yggdrasil, the kernel, and the digital world in one fell swoop. This would classify Omegamon X for the same tier as Yggdrasil. This should apply to at least a few Megas, such as Alphamon, who is relative to this same Omegamon X. The final point goes to Digimon. So, in the end, the score comes to 1 draw and 4 wins for Digimon. It would seem that Digimon is overall the stronger verse. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Other than that, I hope you all have a wonderful day or night. Panda out.